You brought your water?
Okay, inserting on the finance meeting, I think Valerie is going to help shed some light on some requests that we discussed. And in front of us is some ordinances, and 2018-30 has to do with funding $14,950. The employee benefits is $55.15. Summary of deck code for contractual services $10,500, and we have another one in here for $16,400. And we also have
These are already passed. Those were passed last time.
last time.
Yes.
Then we have the new one.
Yep, let me go and get you copies for the new one first.
Yeah.
Don't we have one? And then I've got some other, I've got the other ones that we talked about. Mine are yours.
Yeah.
That's my set. I'll get you copies.
Is it 2018-31 or 2018-30?
31 is the one I'm looking for.
31 is the one, that's in your
These have to
council
be out.
packet. No, that's okay. It's in your council packet, Tom, I got 3 quarters of the way that way. Okay. Yes. Now this one, the numbers, your numbers were a little higher. When we had the budget originally done by Mary at the beginning of the year, the numbers were at a different amount, and then when Chris Kirby came in, he changed the amounts. We adjusted the numbers down, Rochelle did, to reflect what you would need to get through the end of the year. But then there were a few line items at the bottom here, the last 4, were additional items that were not dealt with yet, that in order to keep paying bills, we have to keep those accounts funded, because those accounts were shorted. When the budget was redone by Chris Kirby, those amounts were shorted. Am I correct with that, Rochelle?
What are those lines that you're looking at?
The lines that I'm looking at are mayor and administrative offices, employee fringe benefits.
Those don't have anything to do with bills. Those are all your personal services,
Yeah.
which is actually personnel services, but it's all your payroll, your
Okay.
Medicare, and your pension.
Okay.
And if there is benefits, that's only a few people. There's benefit lines also.
So it's basically my line item, it's the clerk treasurer's line item, and then further up here, it's the code enforcement and the zoning person's line item.
It's also council.
And it's also council's line item, to continue paying everyone.
Okay. One of the questions I have is, I understand we ran into a situation with the Speedway bill, and can you elaborate with their bill, or how they're charging us for fuel, and do we have money in there, or why was there?
This ordinance doesn't address that at all.
I know,
There
I
is
wanna
money.
address that,
That bill
too.
was paid. I've got a confirmation on it. I do not know why that card was declined last weekend, but they were able to use another card and purchase fuel. But I can't tell you why a card was declined. I looked at it. But I've got a confirmation the bill was paid.
I think I have a question in the audience back there.
Was it paid out of the fuel line item, or was it paid out of some another item?
Well, it can only be paid out.
Correct. So it was paid out on a separate card?
No,
How many
but
cards do we have?
all of the cards, we have 2 different fuel cards, 2 different fuel accounts. We have multiple cards in each account.
Out of one line item,
One line item for
fuel,
fire.
fire fuel.
Right.
And so, I guess, why was that delayed in getting paid?
It wasn't delayed in getting paid, it was paid on time. I
And-
don't know why the card was declined, the other card worked.
Okay.
That's pretty dangerous. And I think it puts people at risk. And also, by having the credit card declined, you not only putting people driving the vehicle at risk, how about a passenger and how about the rest of the residents? If a credit card for the village is being declined, it'll also put the village credit rating at risk. So how can you seem to think that this card was paid and they just made a mistake and rejected it anyway?
I saw a picture of the confirmation. It was paid. It was paid.
All
Has
right.
the credit
No
card
question.
company been asked why it was declined?
I contacted him today, I don't have the answer yet.
Well, that's terrible. They need to be called.
All right. And talking about this 2018-31, and I understand there are a list, there's some bills that need to get paid. Is this, the 2018-31 going to address all of that or part of that?
I was specifically told by council that the ordinances regarding supplemental appropriations must all be separated by funds and by types of appropriation. That is a personnel ordinance only, number 31 is. That does not address the others. That's what I have repeatedly said. I need to address several appropriation lines, but some I don't even know yet. That's one of the things with supplemental appropriations. As we go through the year, I don't want to appropriate more than we need because our budget's that tight.
If I made a special finance committee meeting for next Monday night, can we have I'm going to use the word, a global picture of these supplemental accounts that we as council want to see so that we have a better picture? What I think this council doesn't want to do is to say, all right, let's pay this, and then next week we have another group and this and this. I want to see a broader scope, a bigger picture, and I guess I'm concerned, here we are in October, and we're seemingly fumbling around with bills, and there's been money there, correct? Is it just all appropriations that we need to get done?
You have several different issues going on. When your original clerk for this year, she budgeted incorrectly because she budgeted by fund only, which is not allowed by the state. So when your interim clerk came in, he did an all-new budget, which you can't do. What you have to do is a supplemental budget. Once you can work off the temporary, but Mary presented and council passed a permanent budget. So when Chris Kirby came in, he redid the entire permanent budget, but he left lines out of it. One of the problems I'm having with paying bills is he left out the tax. He didn't leave it out, let me correct myself. He reduced the tax collection line. So when the second supplementals came in, I couldn't post them in the UAN because there wasn't enough money to cover the collection fees within that supplemental.
How did you take away kind of what Mary and council had approved? If we'd approved a budget, okay, and think that that's all going to be approved, then he comes along, what you're telling me, makes adjustments to kind of take that away.
Yeah, he
How
reduced
did
it
that
by
happen without council
100,000.
approval?
That was ordinance 2018-16 and 2018-18.
Yeah.
That was what Chris did on those, and he originally did it partially on 2018-16 and then realized he had left out some things, so he included some more on 18, but he did not include everything.
And I met with him, and he said he did not intend by any means for that to be the final budget. He was still working on it. which what happened is you as council believed it was your final budget, and then he reduced it from the $2,050,000 that was the one Mary had presented to you in November and you approved, and he reduced it. The first one was 1.78, I think, and then the next one was 1.85, and that's the one that we've been working off of. So he reduced it, but he also left out certain lines and missed things that, like I said, it's really key to be able to put into the UANZ county system the monies you're receiving. If you can't put them in because you can't, and I could put them in without the collection fees, and then the bank reconciliation doesn't match from month to month, because the bank shows that entire deposit with the collection fees reduced. So then you've got issues with everything matching up. So that's why you have to be able to adjust your supplemental appropriation to include your fees. Those,
I understand he paid no bills in that 2-month time, is that correct?
He was actually here February 5th to May 5th. Michelle did pay some bills in that time. He basically worked on budget lines and you have different treasurers one of the things he felt that you needed was basically like a second set of books. That's not something that I have expressed this to the mayor, it's not something I ever recommend, because that's where you end up with keying errors, you end up with things that you can't see because he thinks he's helping you just see what you need to see. And I never recommend, whether it's me or the next treasurer, never recommend allowing a second set of books. Always insist on the UAN and the bank reconciliation and the bank report. And if somebody does give you an Excel sheet, ask for all the figures that match in the UAN. But that's one of the things he was working on, is setting that up, thinking it would be something easier for you to work off of.
He did pay bills though, Tom. Correct me if I'm wrong, but did we not pass a temporary budget, and then because of all that he did, which he really and truly shouldn't have, because I don't think that's what he was hired for. He was hired to just pay bills and stuff prior to hiring somebody, but we had to have a permanent budget according to the state auditor's office by a certain point in time. So what he gave us, we were told that this was a permanent budget, and that's why it was passed. If it was a supplemental budget or anything else, then we're kind of, excuse my language, screwed, because then this isn't a permanent budget.
Well, you had a permanent budget in place, and you can't undo that. So you had one that you passed with Mary. What he was doing was adjusting your entire budget. And
We really didn't have a permanent budget with Mary.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
There was a discussion of temporary versus permanent. What you guys passed was a permanent.
When
Yeah.
did
was
we
a
pass
permanent.
that?
I can go back and get in the book and find that out if you'd like me to
Yeah,
step out and
It
get
was
it.
actually in November. You passed your permanent for this year.
I'll go ahead and, I'll go ahead and pull the order.
Do you want me to pull it?
No, it's okay.
Okay. Yeah, you passed it November of I think it was November 17th of last year for this year. So that's what you're actually working off of. And then he adjusted, because what your previous clerk treasurer did was she budgeted to fund only. The state requires that at a very minimum, you budget fund, personnel or personal services, capital, and other. What Chris did for you was he then budgeted, which you didn't finish, but he budgeted clear out through your program and your object code, which once you budget out, you can't reduce the budget back. So that's why I have to work with this very tight budget, which is why I can't just come to you like every single time I see something, because you'll have constant numbers to adjust, because now you have multiple lines that are.
Barry, I see your hand back there again. Do you have a question?
Now, I have a question. Was the operating levy budgeted in at the time, since it wasn't yet approved or passed in the vote? So has the operating levy ever been passed by the council to be appropriated to be spent?
They approved to put it on the ballot. They approved to put it on the ballot. They approved to do all that work on there. When the money started coming in 2018, we were going to have to do the appropriation a little bit later on in the year,
Is that ever-
when that money came in. And I do not believe that has yet to be done.
So that money cannot be spent
Rochelle,
until it's...
can you answer that for me, please?
That went to the county auditor, I sent it.
Yes.
It went to the county auditor so that our resources were certified, because you can't spend anything until the resources are certified. So I sent it to the county to be certified. That's been done, but again, that was an extra 200,000 approximately, 200,000 over and above, and you had reduced it approximately, it was 199,000 that was reduced from what Mary originally gave you to what Chris did. So you're actually looking at almost 400,000 difference. Actually, I think it's a little over.
Has the money been spent?
No.
Any, a dime of it?
A dime of what?
The operating money that was passed?
The operating levy, no, because it hasn't been approached, so you can't.
Not yet,
The
not
council
until...
hasn't approved it to be spent. And that money's sitting in an account somewhere, or it's funneling in from the county as it's collected.
Right, and it's actually in the bank account, but not in the accounting system, because the collection fees haven't been appropriated, so they can be put in the account.
So we have to have an ordinance or something to do it.
There would eventually have to be an ordinance.
For us to pass.
Ordinance 2017-19 approved your 2018 budget originally, and it was set up as a permanent appropriation. And then Chris did ordinance 2018-16, and then 2018-18, which changed this.
So why, I guess my question is, why did he mess with the budget to the point where, you know, things are kind of screwed up?
I hate to answer for
I
someone
know,
else. He
yeah.
was trying to address the issue that she only budgeted to the fund, and the state auditor's office says you have to budget. So he was addressing something that had to be addressed. But I think that it's kind of overwhelming here, because you've got so many different parts moving, and you've got to move forward, yet still address the problems that are sitting there. So I think he just never finished it, to be honest. And that's
This
why.
ordinance 2018-31, and going back to what Barry said, ordinance 2018-31, is this pulling money out of the new funds that are coming in, or out of our old funds?
He's talking about levy monies. Levy monies are specified for funds. So the only thing that could be used out of that is like, if it's a fire fund, it's got to be in 2901, which is fire. If it's the police levy, then it's got to be in 2905, which is police. You can't use certain monies in other funds. So some of those could be, I'm trying to remember, no, I don't think there's any 2901 on there, is there?
No, these are our normal expenses that that haven't changed from previous years.
Well, what they were asking is if any of the personnel services were covered in the levy money. And there's none that needed to be covered yet.
But you still can't access those, right, until we pass the ordinance to allow you to
Right.
access them.
Right.
Rochelle, how is it, with everything, well, let me ask you this first. Do we have any bills that are overdue?
Yes, we do. I've been making sure everything's paid so we don't get disconnected. One instance is we've got Ohio Job and Family Services, but it's past due, but I haven't paid it because I'm still fighting them on it. That's on our unemployment. So, you know, they're wanting us to pay on employees that are gone, so those monies aren't even in these line items yet, because I'm waiting to see if we can get those reversed. Because we're paying on an employee that left on our own accord and then lost her next job. So Ohio Job and Family Services is sending us bills, and I haven't paid those
I
yet.
think we need an ordinance on the new operating levy funds first, before we do this. I mean, that's the way I feel.
Well,
And
if
does
you do
other
that-
feel the same way?
No, these fees can't come out of those levy monies, because these are personnel sort of stuff, right?
Let's
Yeah.
see, people.
This is, yeah, if you don't pass this, there are people that have been working and federal, state wage, federal wage and labor laws require you to pay them as a group that employs them. But if you don't pass those, I legally can't pay them. So you're breaking one law or the
So
other.
why don't we add an ordinance tonight to address the operating levy money, so that,
Because I don't know that I'm not sure I can write that fast in order to have you ready by
okay.
7 o'clock.
If I may, remember Chris Kirby took that out to where it's every appropriation line. So when you write those ordinances to put that money, I have to do it each one of those summary appropriation lines. Because it's the program, the object.
I mean, I want to get this right, and rather than rush it through tonight, if we have to schedule a finance meeting, let's say in a few days, and have the ordinance that we're talking about, we can have another finance meeting
Here's my
and put this together.
Here's my concern right now, and I will say this, and folks can get frustrated with me. This ordinance 2018-31, I'll say, for example, it does affect me. It means it's the difference on whether I'm going to get a paycheck for this week.
So where do you get
Paychecks
the
are
money?
due this Friday. And we have other people who are on this ordinance that deserve a paycheck for work that they've done. And unfortunately, without the passage of this ordinance, we won't get paid this
But if
Friday.
we put in the other ordinance,
The other ordinance is not going to do squat for you. Anytime we've got a police levy that comes in, we get a police levy and we get a street levy that goes up for, or a police levy and a fire levy that goes up for renewal every 5 years. That operations levy got passed. You have to adjust your budget and adjust your permanent appropriations with an ordinance to cover how you're going to spend that money. But this money is coming out of our existing general fund dollars that are already coming in each year.
And Rochelle, where are you
And
going
we
to get
have-
the money for this?
The money's there, it's just you haven't given me the approval to spend it.
all right, we pass this tonight, does this pay everybody through the rest of this year?
No, because
No.
you've got to remember, there's things like the unemployment that I may have to pay out of it. So there are a few things that I'm waiting, because those come out of those same lines.
Does it pay people for the next month or two
Oh,
that they
yes,
will?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made sure
We'll
that,
cover that.
you know, our budget's so tight, I don't want to say, let's cover in case of.
No.
Because then, what I'm doing is I'm encumbering money that may be needed elsewhere.
Yeah.
And then I'd have to come back to you and say, reduce this so I can have it here. That's why your supplementals in our type of budget are the way to do it, little bits at a time, so that you still have monies available to encumber.
So
when needed.
I've heard you and Valerie, and also a former council member who was in the finance, I have great respect for Barry. With those explanations, how does my finance committee members feel about moving 2018-31 forward for?
I think we should go ahead and pass it.
Yes, pass it.
That's-
You're fine with that, you're right?
I'm on the committee, I think we have to.
Yes.
We
Okay.
have to.
Have to,
Yeah.
okay,
Absolutely.
okay,
If this is about paychecks, then yes.
okay. I'm gonna make a recommendation that this be forwarded to council to be voted on tonight.
It's okay. But before you adjourn the meeting, I've got a couple of other things
Oh, I
I
know,
want to
we
make
got
sure
other
that you...
stuff.
Yes.
So,
I have a question.
can I have a second on that?
Second.
And so,
Yeah, discussion.
everybody's for that, okay. All right.
Clay, did you want to say something?
I've discussed 2018-31. Barry, thank you for your input. Do you have another comment?
I would recommend you guys go line by line through the budget and figure out where the budget allocations were short, because if we had budgeted the appropriate salaries in that line item to pay the salaries, we shouldn't be doing this tonight. And I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, because we do need to pay the employees. But if we hired extra people, then that budget that line item should have been adjusted when we hired those people.
Yeah.
Where is the shortfall? That's what we need to find out.
They were never budgeted. You hired,
Cheryl.
administrative assistant, and and she works 35 hours a week. She was never.
So
put
what
in the
I'm gonna
budget.
do, I wanna get some clarity, and I like Barry's suggestion. I'm going to suggest, as our group did, we pass this 2018-31 and have a meeting next Monday at 7 o'clock, a finance meeting. And if we have to have a finance meeting every week to get this thing resolved, that's what we're gonna do. I'm scheduling one for next Monday at 7 o'clock, and we'll keep this work in progress. Now, we have some other budget items on here too. Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask Rochelle, can you help us prioritize the things that we need? I mean, I don't know how much we can get through in the next meeting, but would you help us prioritize the things that we need to focus on first?
Absolutely, and one of the things I wanted to make sure you understand is, when you guys pass it like this, it takes several days for me to be allowed to spend it, because I have to then send it to the county, for the county to certify that those resources are indeed there. Then they send it back, and then I'm permitted to put it into the system for the appropriation. So sometimes, like if the county auditor's office is behind, it can take a week or more.
Rochelle, has the new hiree impacted the balance of that account?
What I'm able to do, sometimes you gotta remember, like, there are accounts that you can pay multiple things out of, where it's like, you may have something that you're buying, you're like, is this a repair item or a supply item? So you can pay it out of repairs and maintenance or operating supplies. So there are some things that you have that ability. The same thing with our staff. You know, like, our administrative assistant has been working in multiple positions. So what I've done is I've paid her out of multiple areas. The problem is, like, right now I'm paying her out of water because she backs up water. But that also means that water will be short before the end of the year because I'm using their salary on it. So it's, you know, and I hate to use the phrase robbing Peter to pay Paul, but when you don't appropriate everything that you need, that's what you end up doing.
Well, I wanna get the appropriation for everything we need. I wanna have a meeting next Monday, October 1st, 7 o'clock, and get this corrected. Does that give you time to present some things to us for that, Rochelle? The other ordinance that's out there is a number 2018-34. It is an ordinance, a permanent appropriation ordinance, and declaring an emergency. It has to do with current expenses and other expenditures of the village, and it has to do with the tax collection fees. I talked to Valerie about this.
You want me to go ahead and
Yeah,
help?
go ahead, Valerie.
This is, Rochelle and I were talking about this earlier, and she alluded to this earlier when she was explaining to you. The second half settlement tax fees, when they came in, she needs to be able to post the amounts the county charges us to collect the fees. Chris Kirby had underfunded that account to be for those tax collection fees. This would bring that account up to cover those tax collection fees the county already has charged us. But in order for her to be able to post this in the system and continue moving on with taking care of the rest of our expenses throughout the year, she needs to have that tax collection fee line funded. And did I explain that properly for you? Okay.
Okay, that's 2018-34.
That's 2018-34.
And that needs to go on the agenda.
That needs to be on the agenda tonight.
Yes, if possible. But I wanted to make sure it came to you guys first for finance. I know you have strong feelings about wanting to see these finance issues before they come on the agenda for council.
We have council,
That one goes away.
That's what I thought.
That one's already been passed.
That is a line that you did have in the budget, but it was reduced in ordinance 2016, it was reduced, and Mary hadn't even budgeted enough, so it went the wrong direction.
Can I interrupt before we conclude this? We already have two committee meetings scheduled for Monday, October 1st, one at 6 and mine at 7. At 6. Can we schedule a different date other than Monday, October 1st for finance? Tom, do you hear that?
No.
We can't have a Monday, October 1st meeting because we already have two committee meetings, one at 6, public service, and one at 7, rules.
Well, how about Tuesday?
Tuesday, October 2nd, as of this moment, I do not have court. That could change throughout the week. But we do have a Parks and Rec Commission meeting on Tuesday the 2nd already.
I'm unable to make the second.
The 3rd? October 3rd?
Okay.
Okay, October 3rd then,
Okay.
7 o'clock.
Could you do 6 o'clock?
I can?
Okay, that would be keeping a
All
little
right,
bit
we'll
earlier.
say Wednesday, October 3rd.
3rd at 6
Okay.
o'clock, okay.
Does everyone understand the ordinance 2018-34 and okay with passing that?
Yeah.
Then I have a second here. Okay, that's going to be a recommendation. There's a third one out here.
This is also one that you and I talked about last
This
week.
is a declaration, and this one has to do with accounting and legal fees. This is 2018-33. It's amending 2018-18, okay? And I'm gonna, therefore, this ordinance is for current expenses, and it has to do with legal. It's coming out of Fund 1,000. Other government accounting services provided by the auditor, state, local government, independent professional accounting firm, legal services provided within. I think we all want some detail here on this. It's $20,000, Rochelle. Is this because we've got a lot of legal bills? Can you
Well,
elaborate?
there's something that's played into this that I'm not sure you're aware of. Is if any of you are aware of the Ohio Public Entity Consortium, where we were part of them for our insurance, there's been a long-going legal bill, or legal battle regarding that. We have representation for that. Jefferson Health Plan and Ohio Insurance Services, which governs OPEC, the Ohio Public Entity Consortium, they are actually going after every entity for multiple thousands per insured life, not just per employee, but per insured life. So if you don't have, if we would drop our legal representation on this OPEC, that bill could go up to $70,000 to $90,000 that we'll have to pay out when the state decides to sort this all out.
It
We'll have
also
to pay
includes
more.
our solicitor's bill, correct?
It does include the solicitor's
Okay,
bill.
so how much of this ordinance is really set aside for what you just talked about versus paying our solicitor and the legal bills that we've had? You just,
We owe the solicitor right now, I think it's $1,600. So we need about $1,600 to pay our solicitor today.
okay.
Is that a average?
And then what, then that leaves almost $18,000.
You paid them $5,000.
Our OPEC bill, we owe, marked down, right now, we've got an additional $500 just to stay in that group, to receive that representation. So we owe, and I don't know the exact number because we haven't, it's $500 additional to stay in, but there's an ongoing bill that they're dividing up among groups.
So, I mean, is it conceivable that we could reduce this way down to like $5,000 for now, get those bills caught up, and then ongoing forward, we take a look at if we're really going to need the remaining $15,000? I think in general, I've talked to every council member here, and our legal bills are just concerning.
Yeah, but as long as council is still addressing legal a lot on their own, those bills are going to continue to go up. I haven't gotten a bill with some of the past, what's happened in the past couple of weeks that council has gone to legal in regards to. I haven't gotten that bill. So I don't know what else we're going to
If we
have
change
about that.
2018-33 to $5,000 instead of 20, does that get you to pay some people?
We could pay what I anticipate we'll have like this month and next month, and then we could just go back.
I'm going to cut this a little short, but my recommendation is to change that to $5,000 till we get a bigger picture.
Okay, that sounds great.
Bill, you on with that?
I'm
Cricket?
going out to make the changes.
I
Okay.
think the concern is we're spending our legal fees and
You need to
things,
sign
and I don't, we
Yeah,
really
mine's
haven't
not
gotten
here.
much,
Well,
as an
if-
explanation.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're gonna continue to spend them or continue to use legal, you need the money
And
there.
I'm fine with that. I think the problem is we don't know where the money is being spent. You know, I mean, are we spending about $2,000 a month with Dan Hayes? Are we, I mean, and are those because of planning and zoning requests, are those because of council member requests?
It's mostly what, I would say most of what we've had in the last month is all council.
Okay, all right, well, that's
Yeah.
news to me.
Just to add something, if you say 5,000 gets there 2 months, that means every month, we're going to have to come back and.
Well, I don't want to do that. When we get together on October 3rd, I would like to have a whole list of appropriations that we're going to need to get through the rest of this year. Okay? And if we need 5 more for legal, we'll discuss it. I'm uncomfortable with 20 right now. I want to get your bills paid. The group here is kind of head nod, and that's what they'd like to do. That gets them paid. And then we got to figure out if we've got any additional money for this issue that we have. And we may not. We may not. I see we have another person raising their hand back there, the former mayor. What's your question?
Just a heads up, there's something else you're gonna have is the budget for next year. To get your 3 readings by the end of the year, you're gonna have to have that by the first meeting in November.
Yeah, we talked to Rochelle about that, and the problem, we thought we might be able to get the recommendations like tonight, but how can the girls get a budget for next year when she doesn't have enough
So,
good
I was
information
told,
for
yes,
now?
with that, I wanted it tonight. As you know, I asked you for in September, back in the day, I always wanted it in September, and holding this administration the same way. I was told that if we asked for that budget the first week in October, they will have known what we've spent for 3/4 of the year. With knowledge of what we spent for 3/4 of the year, we can have a better, more accurate picture, and they will have the time to do it. Now, that's got to be done the first week that we meet in October, which is October 8th, is the expectation of a 2019 budget. So we're going to have a meeting on the 4th, and then we'll have a meeting on the 8th. It'll be very interesting to see that on the 8th. Now, one of the things that I think, in general, this council wants me to put out there, okay? We hope to have a productive meeting on the 4th and the 8th, and we hope that your time is spent in accounting. I know it's been diverted, some in personnel. You've got a lot on your plate to get to this council. We want accounting information, and I know that has to be our priority.
I would like a better explanation of that. I mean, what is council asking of you that you...
Thank you, Tom.
Well, like, you know, when like today, I had a council member came in, asked for things, and I got an email later asking for things. I got 2 emails over the weekend asking for items. I am a 35-hour week employee working 55 hours. I'm hourly and giving you 20. So I am doing way more than 35 in the accounting side.
Okay, so that's something we need to police better, if we have council members who are asking you to do things and not allowing you to do your job.
Correct? Okay, I would appreciate that.
I mean, Rochelle, going back to, I think, the comment I made a while ago, your 35 hours that we're allocating for you on accounting, can that get this job done? I mean,
First time
if
on
you-
accounting?
Yeah.
I believe that.
Okay. We have any other questions? We've addressed the 3 ordinances out there for tonight.
I have one question.
We have another correct,
Will we be able to get all of our bills caught up? I mean, everything paid?
Well,
Because we do have some bills that are outstanding, so that's...
not until some of the appropriation lines, not until we get some of the supplemental appropriations and then certified by the county and then back. At that point, some of them I can't pay right now.
Okay, with them being past due, how is that going to affect the financial stability and credit of the village?
I have made sure that I've been in contact with our different groups. That if there's something, I've told them, it's a matter, I said, we've got the funds to pay you, I don't have the appropriations approved. Most of them are deal with government entities, so they understand the process.
So you're saying we have the money, we just need to appropriate it? Okay.
Yes. We have, there's only about 100,000 left open in appropriations, but we have 2 million sitting in the bank. And anytime you want a copy of the bank statement, you want to look at it, please stop by now.
Oh, that's so bad, your time's too valuable.
Yeah, but I do think you guys need to know what's there. You know, what do we have, how is it being spent, am I able to spend it?
And I have an additional question for you. It's on the procedures. Our bank statement comes in, and are you doing the reconciliation and the paying too, or we have that broke apart as just 2 sets of eyes?
We have, what I have, Michelle is doing all of the receipting in. I'm doing all the paying out, so that there's that checks and balances. And the bank reconciliations we're working on together. That way.
There's 4 eyes on it.
Well, yes, two people, 2 sets of eyes. Which I would recommend any council always.
I just wanna make sure there's 4 eyes on it. I think the council wants to too.
And actually, there's more than that, because you guys always see the.
I need to divert to my hardworking, John Geiger, the rules. He's got 15 minutes and he's been on time.
We can do this very rapidly. There's 3 of us here.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn the financial meeting. Second, okay. Go ahead, John.
There's 3 of us here on the committee, yourself, Dr. Foreman, and myself. We had emailed you, thanks to Valerie, a revised copy, which we spent a lot of time doing to make it so you compare and contrast on one piece of paper. And these are the same rules and changes that we voted on in the last committee meeting. There's no change. It's just putting them here, using her method of, oh boy, this is not good. Using her method of lining out and so on. Is that the copy you all have?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can't find mine, but that's okay.
You want to borrow?
Yeah, let me borrow your copy.
Okay, hold on, let me put this
Somewhere in this file.
Okay. Here you go.
So, this represents no, now that I see, this represents no real, nothing new from our previous vote to accept these changes. If you look at the agenda, there's been some movement there, which we approved, particularly moving Parks Commission reports to the 4th Thursday of the, fourth Monday of the month, so it would coincide with the meeting on the 2nd of Tuesday. And that was a suggestion someone made, which is excellent. There is, on the first page, there is one mistake. The italicized, the council president made council, meeting as a result of, should say of weather, W-E-A-T-H-E-R, not whether or not. Okay, so that's just a change, and this is what we're taking for a floor vote tonight for non-legislative vote by council to approve this. This is 1 through revised rules in the previous packet, 1 through 23, but because we took Rule 29 and inserted it here and made it Rule 6, that moved everything down. Rule 6, if you look at it, you formally was 29. So there are really no changes. We just needed a vote. Unless you see something giving you a second to look at this, you still want to change before it goes to council.
Can I ask that planning commission be on every meeting? The reason I suggest that, I understand why you're suggesting the second,
So we have our meeting the second Tuesday of the month. So if something comes up during that meeting, whereas you're not going to get the minutes until the following meeting, there may in fact be information from that
We
meeting
need the
that
second.
you'd want information of.
The rationale
if
was that
something-
we meet the second, if we have our second Monday of the month meeting, and then you meet on the second Tuesday of the month, we don't get that till really the fall, a month later, whereas moving it to the fourth Monday of the month, we would have basically 2 weeks in there where the information be fresh, and that was the logic of it. Whomever suggested that, I can't say who that was at this point.
But if I have new information coming up, then I may or may not have it by then. You know, stick with the board. I just think things are moving very quickly in the development of this village, that there may be going forward
Honest
and
committee
communicate
members.
on a more frequent basis.
Well, the rules allow for a special deal.
If
And she has something special that she wants to bring up.
We have also included a thing in the second Monday for appointments, which we kept, and presentations.
Right.
Presentations, meaning, it's kind of
You have to give it-
potential. And that presentations could be a position by Dan Fleming or anyone else that we may be dealing with on recording systems or whatever, and we could, if there were a need, to put it in there.
Thank you,
Is
Valerie.
that acceptable? Okay, do we have enough, Dr. Foreman, Councilman Wolf, can we?
I'll make a second that these rules get passed, John.
I make a motion that we take these as a non-legislative floor vote tonight at council meeting.
I agree.
Second,
I second it.
and we'll take a vote. Dr. Foreman, you agree?
Yes.
Yes, yes,
Can I
yes.
do it right out on your, when they're called on the rules meeting tonight, coming down on the...
We'll do it under rules, and I think, and these are all subject to, even next year, we could change, if something doesn't work, we can always change it. I'd be glad to do that. Thank you all.
Councilman Geiger, I want to thank you for your time. You spent a lot of time on this, and I know we've got, that covers half the rules.
Yeah, well, almost, except
Oh,
we
good.
got some, the next meeting, start looking at the more y'all know coming into a committee meeting, the quicker we will move this, and our next meeting is on whatever date that was.
First Monday of the month.
Okay, I move, this meeting, the Rules Committee is adjourned officially at 6:55.
John, you can run a meeting.
Because everyone was there.
We're done.
Worked us to death.
No, I got a very good job.
Well, no, it's just, but it's a good one, for the first money.